And intro. The disco doesn't quite go along with that song. Up the Gangnam Style here. All right, well, welcome to Dicking Around podcast. I am the only host that actually matters, regardless of whatever comes next. That's right. His name is Philbo.
Fuck you. I'm Josh, and I'm the main host.
I love that. Fuck you. I'm Josh.
First of all, fuck you. Second off, I'm Josh. Welcome.
I love that. That's hilarious. Oh, dude, that is great. Yeah. What's up, everybody? We come to you with somber reflection today.
God Almighty.
About the about the Goliath that was felled by a David just last night. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. We'll get into that. Fuck the Phillies. But
yeah, we will get into that and fuck the Phillies because there's way too much to talk about there. So
yeah, and we're gonna start off with the cheers. Unfortunately, the reason why Philbo is the favorite host this week, I completely forgot the tequila, but I do have a fully stocked bar, so we're gonna be going with gin because we got a drink. So
don't you worry, Josh will not go thirsty.
Yeah, no, there's fucking no way around it. Hang on, let me clear this water, dude. It's so pleasant out here now that it's not 106 degrees outside.
It is crazy how fucking quick that switch got flipped. Like it's been 80 degrees at least like every single day, and then right after the wedding, I felt like right when we got back, it was like, nope, now it's gonna be 65 degrees. There was no in between. It just went down real fast.
Yeah, but dude, like even the weather, I know it was a little rainy, but like the wedding weekend was fucking perfect. Like that was really good weather. But now it's got like that. Yeah, it's got the crisp evenings. Like the other night, I actually had to throw a hoodie on, and I love it.
Getting a little chilly out there.
All right, so we're going gin, half a glass over ice, at least half. You know, that's how we fucking dick around. I'm still on my Ream kick. I drink this shit every fucking day.
What flavor is that? That's a new one.
Yeah, this is the pomegranate.
Ooh, special.
Yeah, so far I've tried all of them except for the lemon one, and that's next. But we do have a cork pop. Here we go.
Woo!
Woo!
This
shit is so fucking good, bro.
Well, right. With a cork pop like that, how can you not?
How could it not be?
Yeah.
And then I caught Thundercat trying to sneak a glass the other night. I was like, no.
And then you slapped her wrists with a roller.
I slapped the shit out of her, and I was like, Lego my Ream, bitch.
Gator bitches don't drink rummer.
All right. So cheers, Philbo. You got some tea, or you got some fucking Mio or some other pussy shit?
I got something. It doesn't
okay. So cheers, all you beautiful dicks and dickheads out there, to all of our followers, especially our subs, even the ugly one with the little dick. I mean, cheers to everybody. We're gonna have a good episode. We're gonna bitch a lot about baseball, so go ahead and get ready for that. So
start off with that too.
And we're also gonna say fuck the Phillies in this cheers, and here we go, D-backs. Bring it home, baby.
Hell yeah! Not only fuck the Phillies, but fuck the people of Philadelphia.
So fuck the people in Philadelphia. If it got nuked tomorrow, we don't retaliate. We're just like, they had it coming.
We send them a Christmas card
or a gift basket with some scented candles.
Yeah, 100%.
And then we'll send in fucking the Red Cross and FEMA like 3 months later.
Right. Let them cull the herd a little bit.
We'll give them the Haiti treatment. We'll have Trump go and just basketball toss toilet paper rolls into the crowd.
T-shirt cannon first aid.
Yeah. So anyway, what we're talking about, if you guys didn't watch this shit, go fucking watch it. Like, just watch the highlights because it was some extremely disrespectful shit from the Philly side. Now, granted, there were things said from the Atlanta side, but it was very tame in comparison to the retaliation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, for instance, Bryce Harper fuck him. First of all, Bryce. I hope you're watching.
Your hatred of him is well documented.
You got one right here, buddy. You want to come? Yeah. We'll fucking go right now. Nobody's got to pay me to fight your ass. I'll fuck you up. So anyway, he's such a fucking asset to have in at all times. So his arm's fucked up. He can't throw. So they moved him to first base. So he made so many fucking mental and physical errors in game 2. He's essentially the reason they lost the fucking game. I mean, he's definitely the reason why the game ended, because he fucking doesn't trust the fact that Money Mike can catch a ball at the wall. So he's literally almost at third base and can't go back to first. What a fucking turd. But anyway, so after that happened, Orlando Arcia considered that as like disrespect. So he basically said, Bryce Harper's the reason why they lost. He's like, he's actually tearing the team down. He made some comments in the clubhouse. Okay. So some visiting people in the media and whatnot, they leaked this information and made it public. And Bryce Harper, he was angry about it.
Little bitch boy that he is. Yeah.
He's a fucking bitch, and it's always it's surprising to me, not really, but the ones that dish it out the most just can't take anybody saying anything.
And what's undeniable at this point is Bryce Harper has had a very good career in baseball. I don't like as much of an asshole as he is. Very few people are out there saying he sucks, and that's not even what the comment was really about. It was like, look, in this moment, dude, you fucked up. And you're a bit, you're 35 years old or however. He's a little bit older now. And it's like, you got to get your shit together a little bit more. Really what it comes down to.
All right. So I wouldn't say very good. He's had a good career. He's not at a Hall of Fame status right now. He's really going to have to do something in his last 5 or 6 years. But because I think he's 31. But, I mean, so he won the MVP in 2016, right?
Yeah.
He was young. He was a young MVP, but he had a lights out fucking season, and literally he deserved the MVP that year. But it's also one of those seasons where if you compare it on a fucking line graph, like it goes up so far. Like the rest of his seasons are above average. That was like Hall of Fame level, but. His consistency is much more down to earth. Like I think he's a career like 790 OPS, but that season he finished at like almost an 1100 OPS. So it was definitely a spike in his career that he's never been able to come back. He also stays hurt. For a person who talks that much shit, he stays hurt a lot. It's always something. But anyway, the
butt hurt half the time. That's
I was about to say the thing that got injured on Monday evening was his butt. Yeah. So anyway, those mild comments, and Arcia, he never apologized for it. I don't think he should, but the Phillies fans gave it back to him. But his whole thing was because they asked him, so you didn't want Bryce Harper to hear that? He's like, no, that's why I fucking said it in the clubhouse, not to him.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like, to my knowledge, the only thing that they should be reporting on is when the cameras are on and the microphones are on. When they're milling around in the locker room, that's off the record. We can say whatever the fuck we want. Right. If not, like, why are we in the clubhouse? We'll just go. We'll all share the same shower.
Right. And that's a good. Yeah, I saw that point brought up too on social media. People were upset about the media doing that because, there's a lot of trust that goes on with that access in the clubhouse, and they're not supposed to. Obviously, they're not supposed to do shit like that.
Yeah, no, but look, that's at the end of the day, I really don't give a fuck. Like, it's the media. Like, just save that comment for when they're not in earshot, because Arcia he's the jokester. I mean, look, Harper says a lot worse in the locker room. I can guarantee you that.
Oh yeah. Harper would get canceled in today's media. I'm like more than positive with the shit that he says.
Right. Yeah. So after he goes in there and sucks a big fat dick, he just starts talking shit. So anyway, Harper had a really good game 3. He came out and he hit 2 long balls, and both times he fucking ran around and stared at Arcia the entire time, like stared him down the entire time. Yeah. He also, the second home run, he also hit the tomahawk chop while he was crossing home plate, which has been done before. It's not going to hurt my feelings one way or another. But staring somebody down, look. First of all, if you're getting beat down in a fucking playoff game, you got to have some semblance of fucking respect for yourself, hit that motherfucker the next time he comes up. Like send goddamn what's his name? Fucking I don't know, one of our hardball throwers. Just send somebody out there with a crisp 101 to his fucking head, and then usually I would never call to hit somebody in the head, but look, just fucking throw at his head. If you have to throw 4 balls and let him dance around him, he gets the fucking point. But you got to do something. You can't let the fucking Phillies fans do the tomahawk chop at you and Bryce Harper stare you the fuck down. The one thing I will say about the now disgraced Brian McCann is he has shown several times in his career when you pull shit like that, you don't get away with it. Like if Brian McCann was behind that fucking piece of plastic, then he would have stepped up and fucking said some shit right on the spot to Harper, and he would have called for the goddamn beanball. But unfortunately for us, we have 2 extremely timid catchers, and they're not really they're not the emotional leaders of the team.
And one of them's on his knees half the game, so
he's falling all over himself.
I love it too when he blocked the pass ball and the announcer was like, "That was a really good job by d'Arnaud to block that ball," and I was like, "That was literally a routine block, first of all." But for d'Arnaud, that is extremely impressive. I
watched that and I literally told Thundercat, I was like, "Yeah, no, he's just lucky he was on his right knee and not his left knee."
Exactly.
So he could actually scoot with the good leg off to the side. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, Brian McCann would have taken care of that situation, and we'd be talking about a different thing, like Bryce Harper getting facial reconstruction surgery.
Yeah, just about.
But so anyway, yeah, the fucking fans just went absolutely apeshit on us, and fucking they were doing the tomahawk chop half the time. They were fucking yelling at the players.
Crazy as fuck. Like I know, obviously, like I mean, at this point, Philly's the new Boston with that shit. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Like that's insanely disrespectful.
But I'm saying, look. Here's the thing, okay? So, like growing up, I was always taught to be a good loser, but to be a better winner. Like as far as you don't fucking it's okay to get upset when you lose, but you don't want to be nasty about it. But when you win, the most important thing is a graceful exit, or when you get up big during the game. Act like you've been there before. Have respect for the other people, because I guarantee at some point in your life you've been monkey stomped too. So,
100%.
Like, especially at a game like baseball, dude, it's so easy to just let a game get away from you, and now it's 13-1. It's real easy to be an asshole like the Phillies and doing the chops and the bat flips and all this shit. But here's the thing. Have your own fucking identity. Have your own personality. If you like chants and organized chants, why the fuck would you do the chop? Make up your own gooba gaba shit. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just say, we're assholes. We're assholes. And just do like that.
Meanwhile, all they're doing is the fucking towel spins like every other goddamn team in baseball. Like, come up with your own shit.
And it's not even creative. And they made them do it because they just handed the towels out to everybody. They're like, all right, now we're going to do something good. You do like this.
Right. There had to. In fact, they're so fucking dumb. They had to print instructions on the towel, like step-by-step picture instructions.
That's why
use it properly.
Yeah, every section has like the Spirit Squad member to show them what to do. Like
the Spirit Squad member.
They put it up on the big screen. They walk them through it before the game.
It's a little like it's a graphic where like it's like 4 frames of the towel going around in a circle.
Yeah. All right, we know most of you have an IQ of below 80, and like only 20% of you are gainfully employed, and y'all are all up in the boxes. Nobody can hear y'all anyway. But here's how you do it. But no, the whole thing, like I get it. I get like it's a rivalry, but it's not honestly that big of a fucking rivalry.
No,
like they took it to the next level, right? Like right now, the LOL Mets, they're number 2 in my book, and I still fucking hate the Mets. But the difference is the Mets will just shit the bed halfway through the season and just fucking trip themselves, and in the last leg of the race.
They'll have to recover it for 6 months in their beds of money while they.
Right. No, they'll have to buy all the 39-year-old superstars they didn't purchase last year. Right. Then they got to start calling them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they just got to like fill a dump truck of cash and send it over to fucking Clayton Kershaw this year.
Right.
But anyway, the Phillies, like, they don't have their own identity. Like, Bryce Harper obviously is a spokesperson. He's the asshole. He's the vocal one. But at the same time, Nick Castellanos, get the fuck out of here. Like, Nick Castellanos can't fucking walk on the same dirt that Ronald Acuna Jr. can. And then he emphasizes doing the bat flip backwards, like, stares at Ronald as he throws it the wrong way. And I'm like, okay, man, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, you hit a couple clutch home runs. Our pitching shit the fucking bed. Everybody except for Spencer Strider, we need to seriously think about. But yeah, and I know Max Fried's been hurt, but look, you catch a team down on their luck, and they're not playing to where they were a couple weeks ago or a month ago. For that being said, but act like you've been there before, because fuck, you didn't shit the bed until the World Series last year. I mean, like. You've been there before, and you beat us last year. Like, we get it. It's right. I honestly kind of expected it. I would have never said that out loud, but I kind of saw it coming. But
there's something else. There's something else to that too. I saw something on. I've seen some talk about how apparently the new system is very does not favor the better teams. Like, I mean, us and the Dodgers both won a shit ton of games, like the most games in the MLB this season, and we both shit the bed. And the Dodgers have lost something like 5 or 6 series in a row.
So here's the thing. So since I think it was when did they do that? 2019, 2020?
2020, right?
Yeah, since they did that. So, like, for instance, this season, the only team that had a bye week that advanced is the Trastros, and we know that they cheated. We just don't have the technology to figure out what they're doing, because that core group.
It's because it's not technological at all. They're not even banging on trash cans anymore. They're sending smoke signals out of the dugout now.
Right. We haven't been able to pinpoint, but it'll come out in like 3 years what they were doing the last couple years. But
we'll be able to figure it out.
And the core group's still there, the little cheaterton. So I'm sure they're up to something. But because fuck Jose Altuve. Fuck Jose Altuve. He's on my list too, you little bastard. Fucking.
Oh god.
Anyway, so think about this though. So the Orioles won 101 games, the Dodgers won 100, the Braves won 104. They only won one game collectively in the divisional round. They were all juggernauts, all power offenses.
Right.
The Orioles have better pitching than both teams, both of the other teams. But 2 of them got swept, and the Braves got monkey stomped in all but one game. In the 3 games we lost, we got outscored. I think it was something like 16-3 in 3 games.
Right. Which you got to think about, is also not good for the MLB because, and also first and before I say any of that, I just feel bad for Baltimore. Like, they had an amazing season that nobody really saw coming, and then they just got fucking destroyed.
I told you there's something about that Ranger team, man. That Ranger team is sneaky good.
And now that the Rangers didn't earn it because they kind of came out of nowhere, honestly, as well. But and they've had a long and storied history of not going to the World Series either.
Right.
So I totally get that. But yeah, I just feel bad for Baltimore because I mean they were easily their record is they were 3rd best in baseball, and then they just get destroyed. But
no, they had the second record. They won one more game than the Dodgers, but they okay. So here's my thing: since the wild card era began, which I think was in the early '90s, like '93 or '94, the Braves have lost 16 series against teams with 90 or fewer games won in the regular season.
That's insane.
Yeah,
and that's insane.
I mean, so look. We've won the NL East 6 times running. We've only won if you take away the World Series year, which we actually played in the wild card round.
Right.
If you take that one away, we've only won I think 2 other playoff series, including 0 in the last 2 seasons where we won more than 100 games. Right. So we definitely don't want to win more than 100 games. But you don't have to be a fucking nuclear physicists to fucking figure out the science behind this. The teams are detrimenting from having a week off. Like, you're literally ramping up for a tournament. You want to have everything together and just keep fucking going, and then you just sit and watch for a week. Like, I know the Braves and the Dodgers, like, they did these open scrimmages. Literally, they played a full game plus practice every day. It's not the same thing. you don't have the atmosphere. You don't have the competition. Like you're playing AAA guys, shit like that. But it's detrimenting these teams horribly. And like you said, it's bad for baseball. You're trying to build your fan base up. And guess what? The fan base, the views, I think this year were up like 7 or 8%, which is like a record from the year before. Which they're doing something right, but at the same time, when you don't have any of your goddamn favorite teams, like the fucking, the countrywide favorite teams, exactly. You don't have any of them going into the semifinals. What the fuck?
Yeah, what's the point? Who the fuck is gonna watch? Who the fuck is gonna watch? To your point, the Phillies and the fucking Diamondbacks, like, especially the Diamondbacks. They have Arizona has a population of like 3 million people, and they all live in Phoenix. Nobody's fucking watching that game. Nobody gives a fuck about Arizona.
No.
Uh-oh. We lost him for a second. It's all right. He'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. He gets in and out of here real quick. Let's see. He'll be back in a second. But yeah, I mean, it's the overall. Here he is. He's back. There you are.
All right.
I don't know what happened there. Yeah, you seem a little bit quieter though.
All right. So anyway, So think about this though. Like, if you consider the entire fan base and the growing fan base, obviously, teams like the Orioles and the Diamondbacks have extremely heavy growing fan bases because they have really young players that are fucking fantastic, like Corbin Carroll on one side, Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson for the Orioles are going to be really fucking good baseball players. But now, even so, they're out. But now you think about it, the Astros, they've been gaining ground because they've been cheating and winning World Series. The Rangers fan base is garbage. You're literally splitting Texas, and nobody else in the nation gives a fuck about either team.
Right. But it's also a massive. I mean, there's 30 million people in Texas. So
one thing I have learned about working in restaurants for a long time, the Astros are fucking giant in the Hispanic community. The Hispanic community fucking loves them because I don't know, for whatever reason. Obviously, Hispanics play for every team, but it's Texas based, but they have a large they have an assortment of different Hispanic origins. They have Puerto Rican players, they have Dominican players, they have Mexican players, but like that, dude. I would say 7 out of 10 Hispanics I've talked, which Hispanics love fucking baseball. They love soccer. They love fucking baseball. But whenever I have a conversation about baseball, it's always the goddamn Astros. I'm like, really? Really? And he's like, oh yeah, Altuve. And then, if I talked to a Puerto Rican lady the other day about it, and she's a huge Astros fan because of Maldonado. And I did mention the worst catcher in fucking baseball. I was like, really, your favorite player is Maldonado because he's from. I was like, I can name 15 fucking. Look, Eddie Rosario is from Puerto Rico. Be a Braves fan. He's way better than Maldonado. But anyway, so if you think about those two, so you got Texas split right there, like 70-30, and then you think about Arizona has no fucking fans. Philly has the state of Pennsylvania, and that's it. So. I would say collectively, those 4 teams only represent like 9% of MLB fan base. And 2 are extremely polarizing, and fucking fans like us are never going to fucking root for them.
Oh, never. Or even really give a shit about them. And why should we?
And the only reason why I want the fucking Rangers to win is because I fucking hate the Astros. And then, I mean, honestly, I'm going for the Diamondbacks now because I actually like the squad. They're a sneaky, dangerous ass squad. But and Corbin Carroll's going to end. He's the new Mike Trout. Like he's going to end up being the best player in baseball. You heard it here, folks.
They've also never won a World Series, right?
Yeah, they did.
Did they? Oh, I think we talked about this before.
They won like 99 or 2001, maybe. 2001, yeah. Yep. Yeah, in the Randy Johnson era when he won like six out of 9 Cy Youngs.
Right. Yeah, for real.
that guy was a goddamn monster.
Yeah. It definitely more of an underdog too, just in general in the league. So yeah, I think I would be fine with them winning it, but like at the same time, like I don't know, maybe I'll watch game 4 or 5 if it even gets to that point.
Oh yeah, I'm not watching the whole fucking thing.
Right, exactly, and very little people are going to, I believe.
Yeah,
And
so
it's just, I don't know. We've talked about this before. The Braves, the Mets, the Yankees, probably the Mariners, and then just the Dodgers by default of living in like one of the largest cities in the country have the biggest fan bases. And where the fuck are they? they're getting kicked out of the division series, but to your point, by teams that have been playing, heart attack, everything's on the line baseball for a week going into these going into the division series, and it's a little weird to say the very least.
Yeah, I mean, so Manfred, which by the way, fuck Manfred, but he
nobody fucking likes him anymore.
Dude, fuck Manfred.
Like,
he's the Roger Goodell of baseball.
Yeah,
but he fucking.
So I think Roger Goodell is the Rob Manfred of football. I think is what it really is.
Fair enough. But yeah, he gets booed everywhere. They talk shit. Like he only attended like 60% of games that he could attend. Like, he's supposed to be active in different cities and shit like that. But
right.
he was literally getting jeered so badly. Even if he went, he would just sit in his box and not do anything.
But and here's the other thing with him too is like I remember because when we won the World Series, they had just taken away the All-Star game. I don't remember if it was that season or the season before they took it away because of some political bullshit. And I don't want to get into it.
No.
But it was literally for a political reason, which first of all, it's not the MLB's job to become involved with the local politics of where their fucking states are. Like that's insane to me. That's absolutely
by doing that. But by doing that, they're taking a side politically too. So, like, you should be apolitical. Who gives
Sports should be apolitical. It shouldn't be fucking ESPN for the last 10 years. I don't know why the fuck ESPN has gotten political. That makes no goddamn sense to me.
I don't give a fuck on your stance on capital punishment, and I don't give a fuck on your stance of Taylor Swift. Like, just fucking show me the highlights and shut the fuck up. Also, fucking get on your editors because the goddamn typos are getting out of hand. I can't even read. I can't even read this shit anymore. I can't read
it. There's no such thing as professional journalism. I mean, obviously that's been the case for a long time, but it's definitely seeping its way into print media because holy shit, nothing is fucking proofread. Like they're just spitting out first drafts and nobody just gives a fuck anymore. Like, I don't understand what is going on with that. Like,
but this is
ridiculous.
It's shit like I would be like smacked in the head for in 9th grade. Like like using they are instead of there and fucking shit like just like homonyms interchanged like the wrong fucking word, like glaring shit. Like for instance, I was reading an article about Georgia and how they monkey stomped Kentucky, and I had to go back and double check because it was like. And that was the highest rank that they've played Kentucky. They were ranked at number 2 during the matchup. And I was like, no, the fuck they weren't. And then I went back. I was like, it was 20. And there were two things wrong. You're the god. You should be the fucking source of all things like correct in sports. But instead, you made 2 big errors. Instead of putting 20, you put 2. And then, which is a big fucking difference if you don't know anything, then you're like, oh shit, that was a big fucking game. But they were also last year when we played Kentucky, they were ranked like 12. So get your shit right. It's right. That's literally your job. Like your only job is to know what you're writing about. That's it. And it's not like these are op-ed pieces where it's just fucking your opinion. Like even if you put a little opinion in it, you got to get the facts right.
Yeah, 100%. And that's. I mean, I don't know. That whole thing is just going to shit. But my other point with Manfred is that he was he pulled the fucking All-Star game out of Atlanta for politics. And he already said, now this was back in the summer. I don't know what they picked. This was a story in Atlanta. You probably didn't even hear about it because it's not really that like pertinent of a national story. But we were in the running. He said we're in the running for the All-Star game in 2025. I don't know if they already picked that location. I don't fucking know. But it's like, guess what's changed between 2020 and 2025? Nothing. The law hasn't changed. Nobody's, nothing has happened. There's absolutely nothing different. So that's also bullshit because it's not like they were never, ever going to have an All-Star game in Atlanta ever again. Like, that's not, like, that wasn't even close to being what was going to happen. So it was a dumb fucking move to pull in the first place. The Braves turn around and win the World Series, and you're ridiculously booed in Truist Park, deservedly so. Like, the guy's just a fucking dumbass. Like, I don't understand, like, if he's not dumb as hell, he's got a shit ton of people around him who are also dumb as hell, and that's
Yeah.
like I don't know how you make those decisions like that.
So I feel like a lot of things that are put on Manfred, just from an outsider's point of view, like I'm kind of I keep up with it, so I consider myself well read in the know. But a lot of this shit, I mean, it's voted on by committee. It's also it has to pass like a vast. I think it's like a 3/4 or a 2/3 majority vote by all the teams. They're actually agreeing with this
the
shit.
owners have to go along with it.
Exactly, and the players' union gets a vote. Like there's this whole process. It's not Manfred that just decides. He's not. He comes up with a couple ideas, like the Manfred runner. The goddamn that's probably my least liked
Ghost
rule
runner.
change.
Yeah, that shit is so stupid. Don't even get me started on that.
The goddamn. But look, so that's on him because he created it, but that's also on all the goddamn owners because they agreed to it.
Right.
But you know, the larger bases, obviously, that's good for baseball because we brought back the lost art of stolen bases. But
yeah, you're not lying, dude. I don't know where the fuck. Yeah, I guess it's just because like all the analytics and everything over time, like we're throwing balls faster than ever before, so they're getting to the plate faster, and catchers are throwing down faster than ever before. So,
but also on that fact, I mean, you have to think like the '90s versus today. The game has changed as far as the catchers go because you don't have your Mike Piazzas and your goddamn Javi Lopez's and all this shit running around.
You don't have your fucking Papa John eating fat guys back in the goddamn.
No, I mean the majority of your guys are just like routine hitters, like fucking. I mean, Sean Murphy, for instance, he's considered like top tier hitter for a catcher. Yeah. He's nowhere near the first and third baseman and the outfielders. Right. But it's most of them hit like it's standard like 240, 250. They end up with 60 RBIs and like 15 long balls.
Right.
But they're extremely versatile as far as being defensive. So like I think the best pop time in the league right now is still Real Muto with Murph like right behind him. Right. But everybody is like right fucking there. Like there's an S tier and an A tier, and then there's Maldonado with like a 3.2 pop time. Like it's literally it's open season.
It can't be that low. It can't be that low.
It's not exaggerated, but it's like a 2.2, but it's still fucking bad. But anyway. The catchers, they finally made that rule. So now, especially with the pitchers can only disengage twice, it's harder to hold the runner. Pitch outs that you're burning up pitches. It's a whole thing. So now they actually have to think about how they're going to hold the runner on. But as far as Manfred goes, like, look, you can blame him for all this shit. I definitely blame him for the Manfred runner. you can blame him for some bad decisions, but the worst fucking decision of all, the biggest black cloud that follows him around and is over his fucking head every day of his life, is how he handled the goddamn Astros. And choosing to give them immunity if they came forward, that's the worst fucking look. Pete Rose bet on himself. Pete Rose bet on himself to fucking win, right? And he's the greatest hitter of all fucking time, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And these pieces of shit knew when a fucking slider was coming, and that's why they won the World Series. No. That we're talking apples and oranges. We're talking murder versus jaywalking here.
Yeah, 100%.
And they got nothing. They punished the motherfuckers that didn't know about it. They punished the goddamn. They punished the manager and the assistant manager. They punished the GM. The GM did not know anything about that.
Now, of course the GM didn't know about it.
The general manager would not have signed off on that. That's fucking. Right. That's Bush League shit. But they had this unfair advantage and they won because of it. That's cheating, and it should be thrown out. The season doesn't count. That they don't get to fly a flag. They like every other like the captain of every other team gets to pee on the trophy before they burn it. Like it's especially the goddamn Yankees and Red Sox. They definitely they get to fucking nutshot everybody that was a part of it.
Right.
And then you give them a fucking 2-year suspension. That's how that should have been handled. Instead, they're right back in the goddamn playoffs the next year with no repercussions. So that, in my mind, says, but then fucking Trevor Bauer, he gets suspended for 2 fucking seasons because a couple of women ganged up on him and said he did shit that he didn't do. Like he's literally no criminal charges were ever taken against him. He has won or dropped every civil suit. And he's literally saying, "Look, I didn't fucking do it. Why am I playing in goddamn Japan?"
Right.
Like, this doesn't make sense. And to do that to somebody like when he didn't affect the game at all. Like he did nothing wrong in the game. He's one of your top pitchers, your top competitors. He puts asses in the seats. He's on your biggest market fucking team. And to treat him like that says something to me, because you know, people that actually like went against the purity of the game, they corrupted the entire fucking game, and you just say, look, they told the truth. Come on, guys, let it go.
Right. Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand that decision either at the time, and it was pretty bad. And it still is pretty bad. I mean, to your point with Trevor Bauer, that's definitely a bigger like separate cultural issue that's going on in our society at the moment. And that's such a double-edged sword too, because it's like, yeah, obviously like people who were getting away with that shit before, like they're no longer getting away with it, but it's also the fact that people who are completely innocent, especially people who are in these high-profile positions, are now basically getting, you know, framed, for lack of a better term, just falsely accused of shit they never did.
They're being targeted for money, and they end up like, look, Trevor Bauer, and I'm going to say this last thing, but Trevor Bauer fucking is the prime example of it, because not only has he been exonerated on all fronts, and there's absolutely no form of proof. You know, even the main defendant against him, you know, they never brought up criminal charges, but in the civil case, the main defendant, pictures were leaked from her phone that she was texting her friend the next day, like, oh yeah, he's going to get it. I'm going to give it to him. And sending pictures, and then basically insinuating that a guy friend of hers is going to choke her and hit her in the face so she's bruised up. Like, literally, this like, Trevor Bauer just released that shit because they dropped the final case. So he actually went public. He's like, I didn't do it. I didn't fucking do it. Here's fucking proof I didn't do it, that they were lying. And you could tell he wanted to say cunt and all this shit, but he held his cool. But here's the thing with me. Like, he came off a Cy Young fucking season, best pitcher in baseball, or at least top 3. This fucking kid was 29 when this happened to him. They suspended him for a full calendar year, and he had already missed like 3/4 of a season. But not only that, it was a contract year, because at the time he decided, instead of signing a giant contract at 27, he was going to play a couple 2-year contracts. And his 2-year contract with the Dodgers was up. That kid was about to get fucking paid, bro. Like, this didn't just cost him whatever legal fees or whatever. This cost this young man the better part of a fucking $500 million.
Right.
Like, that's, you know, he's going to end up having to work at an Aldi as a fucking cart boy now, because hopefully
it's not that bad.
But you know, these young guys that are that good, they have the Allen Iverson syndrome, where they just blow their nut, knowing they're going to get a giant contract in age 29 or 30 season.
Anything green that comes their way, it's immediately right back out the door.
Right now he's making like 100,000 yen a game, and or whatever the fuck it is. But he's also not doing well, because he didn't pitch for a year and a half, and everybody's saying he's never going to come back now. And I'm like, well, fuck, look what you did to him. Like, you guys did this to him. So you know, and we can talk about different stuff. I mean, there literally are like Pablo Sandoval and all this shit that literally were just going around beating the fuck out of women. And they deserve, and I think his longest suspension was because they didn't deal with it like that back in the day. So his longest suspension was like a month, and that was the team that initiated that, not the MLB, because they were like, literally, Pablo, you got to stop bringing the girls over, because we got to clean the blood up. There's just blood and semen everywhere.
Oh my god!
But and then you look at the Ozuna thing. I mean, fuck, It's a different walk of life. We've talked about that, and I don't take a stance on it, because they're married. They're still married. They never separated.
Did it to each other.
They did it to each other. It was tit for tat. Obviously,
it was one-sided.
Obviously, they like to have a couple of Michelob Ultras and fist fight. Who am I to judge?
Hey. What's that shitty rum that's like below Captain Morgan? It's like Admiral Seaman or something.
Admiral Nelson.
Admiral Nelson, yeah. They like to have a few little shots of Admiral Nelson, and then
Yeah,
You know,
and then
go
hit
10 rounds.
yeah, and hit each other with ceramic ashtrays.
Yeah.
Like-
Isn't domestic abuse hilarious?
It is, but it's got to be consensual. Like,
That's what
if
makes
she-
it funny.
but like if she's literally agreeing to physical confrontation, then who's to fucking say somebody should go to jail or be suspended for a year? Now, I'm not saying it's a healthy environment to be in, but if they're
Right.
two consenting adults, let them fucking do it.
The kids
Like-
say toxic these days.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, so if you and I were like at my house drinking, and we decide we want to fight in the backyard, we both consent
Right.
that we want to fight, and we're in my backyard. Dude, we can be ticketed. It's a ticketable offense, but we cannot be arrested for anything. It's actually, it's what's it called? A fray. So literally,
That's the actual legal term.
yeah,
The fray?
it's called a fray, and it's a ticketable offense, but it's not even a misdemeanor. Now, if I assaulted you from behind and whooped the shit out of you in public, that's a little different. But
Well,
but all I'm saying is why if it's two consenting, like if it's a man and a woman, why is that not a fray? Why do you go down for fucking ag assault?
well, I guess it's I think the circumstance would play into that. So if you're living together, you're in a documented relationship. I guess it's a little bit different. But yeah.
Anyway, well, once again, the podcast isn't advocating domestic abuse.
I think that's the important takeaway from today's lecture.
Actually, if you'd like to subscribe, we will donate a little to a charity of my choosing.
battered men of America.
No, Admiral Nelson's fight against domestic abuse.
the Sea Scouts. You know that's a real thing, right?
Like they were mad at each other before they drank Admiral Nelson's.
All he did was walk in there and open up the warfare.
Right, he just hit her with the bottle.
Right.
Like that's it could have been any bottle.
Right. she just happened to be standing there.
And Admiral Nelson's would like to say she was kind of asking for it.
Admiral Nelson, there's just like dude like in like Napoleonic garb and that like next to him going yes! Oh, God.
Rip her shirt off.
we should make an Admiral Nelson's commercial now.
I think we
what's
just
funny is-
did.
What's funny is I've never heard of that drink in my entire life until I saw like a meme about this dude drinking it, some college kid drinking it for the first time. I'm like, I've never heard of that ever. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. Being a bartender, they make you some. Well, you run into it like you have your good shit, your call shit, then you have your top shelf shit for the display. But then what you don't show is your well shit, which is like dude, you basically have one off brand of every type of alcohol that like you don't display. So if they just ask for a rum and coke, you just say, all right, you like white or dark. If they ask for a white rum, you give them Castillo, which is like $8 a bottle. And if they ask for dark, you give them fucking Admiral Nelson's, which is like $6 a bottle.
God, dude. Yeah, that's shit. Well, and it's funny because now everybody's well vodka now is Tito's. Like I don't know like where Tito's even came from.
No, that's a call vodka, man. Like if you're going to a bar,
I'm telling you,
and I'm talking about a real bar, like a restaurant. A lot of restaurants, especially like mid to upper end casual restaurants, Tito's will be their go-to. But if you go to an actual bar, like you go out drinking with your buddies, and they have a special $5 you call it or whatever, you're not getting Tito's. You're getting fucking Popov vodka that's like $6 for a half gallon. Like you're not. Don't think you're walking around with a Tito's because you're not. Yeah, no, your tequila is like Pepe's.
Yeah, it's just some made up shit. It's Pablo's.
Yeah, no, it's
sick.
It's definitely made in a bathtub that people have died in.
Exactly. They don't have the dignity to do it in a clean bathtub.
Yeah, and it's so bad. It's not even in a bottle with a screw off top. It comes in a box with a bag that you just dispense like a box
tissue
of
paper. Oh God. It's like a cloth plug, like how they used to like in like the 1800s, like little medicine bottles.
Yeah,
not even a cork.
Or you just make it in the bathtub and just scoop it out of the bathtub
with like a plastic ice scoop.
Yeah, that hasn't been sanitized ever. Trust me, it's not gonna hurt it. This shit's basically gasoline.
Right. Exactly. It's self sanitizing.
It is sanitizer.
Yeah. Yeah, like during COVID when we had all the tequila hand sanitizers. By the way, that shit was disgusting. I just flashbanged myself with that memory.
Well, I don't think you were supposed to drink it.
Well, I wasn't that desperate, but like the homeless people could have. Like that shit was insanely disgusting. Like,
well, it was made in a distillery. What the fuck did you think was gonna happen?
I didn't advocate for it. That shit just showed up. You know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden, everywhere. I've never seen more hand sanitizer in my entire life than between February of 2022 and April of 2021. It was insane.
We actually had when I was at Chipotle at the time, and we actually had an assistant manager get fired because so you remember in 2020 there was a giant shortage of the shit, and then it ended up it was the rubber band effect. So like everybody caught up and it made way too much.
Yeah.
But in 2020,
bullwhip effect, yeah.
Yeah, so in 2020, they sent us out, and it was really fucking smart. So they sent us out when we were doing our chemical orders to just order like 100. And they came in like these giant fucking dispensable things. So literally, we used all of our extra storage just to store sanitizer. And we had an assistant manager get fired because he was selling that shit on Letgo for like $100 a bottle.
Oh, that's hilarious! How did he get caught? Like how was he stupid enough to get caught doing that?
Well, because
in the first place, because it wasn't inventoried.
Yeah, the general manager wasn't in on it, so like he apparently sold a shit ton because everybody wanted to drown themselves in it, like Frank from Always Sunny.
Yeah, they wanted to take a bath from it every fucking night, apparently.
Yeah, so basically, like they had like 80 in on inventory, and when the GM counted the next week, it was down to like 28, and it was like they were asking like who's using so much sanitizer because like literally there's none back there now.
So there's like cobwebs in the corner where it used to be.
And basically they went back to the film, and literally like every day he was just going, anytime he was going to smoke or take a break, whatever, he would just carry a gallon of fucking sanitizer out to his car.
I love that.
But hey, the kid cleaned up. He ended up making like fucking, I don't know, like $8,000 doing it.
Oh my god.
But
funny.
He got too greedy because he did it. I can't remember. It may have been like $5,000, but still, I mean, just stealing, that's pretty good. That's more than the average shoplifter.
I mean, he should have been smart about it. Like, make like no more than like $200-$300 a month doing it. Just a little extra something.
I mean, when you have inventory that high, to be honest, and you're actually using the shit way more than often, it would be really hard to gauge. Like, you could get away for like 2 a week, I'd say, and you could do that throughout.
That seems kind of high. 8 a month.
No, because the thing is, it's not a high margin because we don't sell it, so we don't, and it's not expensive. So literally, he was selling it for $100. The company was paying like $15 a jug for it. So you're not really noticing it in the AVT. It's not a glaring number. Right. So, like for instance, if you steal like a case of steak that we do sell it as a high margin item, then obviously it's going to have this big fucking red square on it, like, oh shit, you're missing basically $3,000 worth of shit, so go find it or find out who took it.
Right.
But no,
how do you flip steak? Have you ever been in a situation where people have stolen steak and then sold it
on
the black market?
Oh really? Yeah, dude. Fucking ask Thundercat about it. Like Thundercat, when she worked at Longhorn, she would literally have grill cooks that just like, they take out the trash, but they take out the trash. So they'll just go in and get like a case of ribeyes, and they'll take because I think they come in like four packs vacuum sealed, and it's like a total of 20 of them, and they'll put them in the fucking they'll put them in the bottom of the trash can, put the trash on top of it, roll it out, and just put it by the dumpster for them to come pick up later. And then they'll go like there's these shady little goddamn meat shops on the bad side of town. They'll literally go and they'll just make like $5 a steak on it and clean the fuck up. Like all they had to do was steal it.
That's so weird, but I don't understand. I've never heard it. Like, what shady meat shops are buying the steak? Like, I don't. And what's the point of it? Just so that they have inventory?
Yeah. So that's how they get their meat, and like they don't really have distros. They just have connections that steal them meat. the same way that a lot of
Sounds
those
like
shady
some Philly shit. Let's be honest.
Well,
That sounds like some Philly shit, right?
it is, but unfortunately, it's fucking Gastonia shit too. But like, they so there's a shitty. I used to live on the bad side of town, like when I was 21 or 22,
Right.
and at the exit, so in the middle of the neighborhood, there was one of those shitty little convenience stores that like doesn't have power, so you can only go in during the day, so they don't have like cold items or anything. It's basically it's ran out of a cement shack. And there's a guy like they only take cash, obviously, but that's where you go to get your bootleg liquor. You go to get your bootleg mixtapes. Like they'll literally just copy CDs. That's where you go to get your bootleg DVDs. You get they sell
that
like
market doesn't exist anymore. It's kind of a shame.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, but it's not like it was in its heyday.
But, and they sell, behind the counter, what they have is like your blunt wraps, your cigarettes. They sell loose cigarettes for 25 cents a piece.
Nice.
Like shit like that. But on the entrance exit of the neighborhood, there's this other little fucking shack next to a gas station, and it's the meat market. And literally, you go in, you can buy ribeye at like fucking $5 a pound.
From, actually.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't from fucking Wu-Tang Clan China. It was from fucking.
I'm pretty sure the Wu-Tang Clan is not from China.
No, you think? You mean Ghostface Killah isn't Chinese?
I don't know. Just a hit. I mean, just a
old dirty bastard isn't from China. But no, they definitely exist. So the secondhand market, unfortunately, for all that shit, is a real thing. And those, dude. So I experienced firsthand the issue. So you have your cell phone store, so you have your Verizon store, your fucking AT&T store, yada yada yada. But you have those shitty little ones in strip malls that aren't affiliated that just sell what the fuck ever, and most of what they sell are secondhand phones. That's from people stealing phones and selling them to them like a pawn shop.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, because when I lived,
seen one of those.
So what? Oh yeah, I'm sure you have. You just didn't pay it any mind. You're like, well, not going there.
Right, probably.
Because they're usually in strip malls that like the only reputable thing in there is a GameStop, which turns out they're not reputable either.
Yeah, the GameStop is like the legal version of thievery.
Yeah. So no, I experienced that firsthand. I threw this giant house party when I lived in that ghetto house, and which by the way was it was like the best time of my life. But we threw this giant fucking house party, and there was a couple girls and myself. Like, so it was back in the day, Bluetooth didn't fucking exist, so I had one of those docks and with the big speakers and shit. So I just left my phone on the dock, and then I basically made kind of a little charging station if anybody needed to charge their phones. Because you remember, like, first generation iPhones had like a 2-hour goddamn battery life,
if even that long.
Yeah. So there were a few phones sitting over there, and then I was drinking in the other room, playing beer pong, fucking jamming out, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the music goes off. I was like, "Hey guys, fucking just push play or go to a different playlist." We're like, okay. And then nobody says anything. I was like, what the fuck's going on? And I go in there, and my phone's not on the dock. And then there's no other phones over there. Somebody snagged our phones, right? And
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, dude, by whatever stupidity, so I ended up, it was somebody that I worked with that actually stole it. Now, it was hard to narrow down, but they kind of told on themselves because there was literally like 80 people at that party. But they ended up telling the wrong people, and it got back.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties once more. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be back in just a second. I'll tell you all about his ghetto phone thieving story. I don't know what's going on with this. We'll actually have to do a little bit of research into what is going on, because I feel like this happened last week too, and I don't really know why. But we'll figure it out. We'll give him a minute though. So let's see, is he back yet? Oh. So I'll just go ahead and talk about Starfield for a minute, which a lot of people obviously have been playing. It's been out for about a month now. Oh, he's back. Okay, well I'll pick that up later.
All right, so
he's back.
All right,
I don't know what's happening there.
I don't know. I gotta restart my computer or something. It's like.
Yeah. It happened last week too, so I don't know what the fuck.
I don't know. We'll look into it, but anyway. So to finish the story out, so I found out who did it, but they weren't being very upfront about it. But so anyway, the girl that one of the girls that's phone was taken, I was hooking up with it at the time, and it turns out her dad was a detective for the Gastonia PD. So he was super irked about it, like so irked. He came up to my job. I was a bartender at the time. Like he came up to my job and he's like, "What the fuck happened? Like you got to tell me right now. Like I'm opening up an investigation, this and that." And I was like, "Well, it's a fucking phone. It's not that big of a deal."
Right.
And he was like, "No, we're finding the phone." And I was like, "So the funniest thing happened
on that phone."
Yeah, exactly. So
what the fuck?
So the craziest thing happened. I actually called the phone the next day from my work phone, and somebody was dumb enough to answer. Somebody answered the fucking phone.
What?
And yeah, somebody answered the fucking phone and then said hello, and I said, "Hey, how you doing today?" And like just long enough to where I could hear in the background, and they said whatever it was. Like literally, they answered the business phone and said the name of the business. It was like West Side Cellular or something like that. And so I heard that. I was like, that's interesting. And then so I basically told him, I called him when that happened. He went and like shook the fucking place down like goddamn Serpico and fucking
walked out of there with like 70 phones.
Yeah, no, literally. So he didn't get our phones back. Apparently, like I guess the manager realized like they answered the phone or whatever. He wasn't able to get our phones back, but he literally fucking basically told them, "All right, so here's the deal. I know you guys had the phones. Like I know you guys buy fucking stolen phones. So here's the thing. Either I camp out on you and basically shut your business down, or you give me 3 of the newest phones that you have." And then, so he like shook them down. Seriously,
that's hilarious.
And I mean, look, fucking shout out to you, bro, because he showed up in my work again. He's like, "Hey, here's a phone, man. Sorry, I couldn't get yours back." I was like, "You're the fucking man, dude. Thank you."
Oh my god, that's crazy.
I was like, Jesus Christ, we're keeping the streets clean out here, aren't we? Protecting and motherfucking serving. That's the type of police work I like.
That's fucking wild, dude. What a G move too, to just walk into that den of iniquity and criminality.
Right. Goddamn Sodom and Gomorrah and just burn the place down.
Yeah, that's weird though. I've never really heard of those. Like, so you said they're in strip malls and shit. Like,
so so they don't exist anymore for a reason. I mean, like now there's so many different ways to track your phone from other devices. So it's really hard to get away with because you can track them even when they're off. So unless you get them to like something that can jailbreak them instantly and shut them down, then whatever. But the secondhand market is not what it was. Like it's just kind of a way of life. Like you pay $1,300 for an iPhone over the next 2 years, and it's just part of your bill. It's just what you do.
Right.
Yeah. Like nobody's sweating an extra $15 a month. But no, back in the day, the secondhand market was fucking crazy because nobody, especially with lower income households, like the contracts were a little pricey when they came out. Yeah. And you had to put money up front. They would check your credit score and shit. Like, this is a little before your time, but they literally.
No, I kind of remember that because that was a big selling point too. Like when they shifted the system a little bit, where it's like no contracts, no blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, you could go to these little places and you could get one of the newer phones that's secondhand, and you could pay a quarter of the price, and then they would give you the actual like air cards for them that you punch in the numbers and you get X amount of text messages and X amount of fucking minutes and shit like that. Right. But more importantly, you got access to data and all that shit. But it was basically a quarter of the price compared to the big leaguers, and it was really popular. Like a lot of people went to these places, and that was also before the phones weren't nearly as sophisticated. Like you didn't have to jailbreak them to do anything.
Right.
So. Like it's not
Matrix like flip phone that's coming out.
Yeah, like literally, you could buy the iPhone 3 and just like if you were with AT&T, you could just cancel your contract and go to Verizon, and they could just activate that phone on theirs.
Right.
But that shit doesn't happen anymore. But because of shit like that, because you just had a phone that would work on anything, and if somebody took it, then you can't find it. So You're literally carrying around a $1,200 piece of machinery that's just, I mean, it's basically like jewelry. Just fucking steal it and somebody will buy it.
Right. And I guess to that point too now, like there's just easier ways to get phones, like cheap phones too, and there's the discount fucking carriers. And they're just, I mean, everybody has a phone now. Like it used to be that I remember it was funny because I think like it must have been like I must have been, I don't know how old I was, but I was a very young child, like 5 or under. My parents took us to Disney World, and this was like 2000, or it was 2000 or before, so either late 90s or like right around 2000. And they brought walkie talkies, like long range walkie talkies, to use in the park to communicate with each other because they didn't have cell phones. Because a lot of people, I mean, by that time, they still weren't like totally ubiquitous.
Right.
So yeah, it was pretty. I remember I always laugh at that story. I'm like, you fucking weirdos, just walking around fucking Disney World, looking like you're, trying to stake out on Winnie the Pooh or some shit.
Yeah, dude, my parents are the same. My parents had flip phones until like 2015.
Oh my! It's funny, and now they're making a comeback. Now flip phones are like the thing again.
Well, so I'll tell you, like as far as price points go, yeah, dude, you can go to Walmart and get like a fully functional smartphone with like a month's worth of data for $30. It's nothing.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're nowhere near the quality of an iPhone, but it'll get it done. It does everything the iPhone does, just not as well. But then like, so when I was opening restaurants with Chipotle, they would send you this giant like tactical box, like it just dropped out of a goddamn AC 130, and like
Jesus Christ,
it was this giant like military grade box with all the shit you needed. So like they give you a laptop, they give you a printer, a scanner, like basically anything for a mobile office that you would need. And like recruiting tools which included a flip phone. And I was like, okay, so you're expecting me to conduct over the next 3 months at least 1,000 interviews? I'm supposed to set those up with a goddamn Nokia? I don't think so.
Wait, this was like 4 years ago too, right?
Yeah, this was like 2019. And they
sent you a flip phone,
sending a goddamn Nokia flip phone.
What was the fucking thought process behind that?
I was like, people are actually using this, and I was like, so this is why all your NROs suck, because they can't call more than 3 people a day.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, so I immediately got with my boss. I was like, hey, yo, this shit ain't going down like this, bro. He's like, I'm going to Walmart and getting a goddamn cheap ass fucking burner phone, a smartphone. And I'm going to charge it to the company. I was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. And so, because like when you're opening a restaurant, like you're fucking, the shit that you can expense is so crazy. Like I made so much more money doing that shit. Cause like now literally anywhere I travel for work, paid for, thank you. They pay for 2 meals a day, paid for, thank you. Fucking there was an extra per diem that I could use for different things like recruiting expenses, and this is one of them. So as long as you didn't spend more than like $100 a day, it's just fine.
And he's gone. And he's fucking gone. All right. Oh, Jesus Christ.
God damn it.
I don't know what's going on. All right, finish that story, and let's talk about some of our articles. We might have to end a little bit early because I don't know what the fuck is going on with the tech.
So anyway, like I went, bought one for $30. Setup was super easy, and so that way,
I went bowling for $30.
Yeah, so I fucking like literally instead of actually having to manually enter every goddamn phone number like from each application, I literally go through the application, like take chunks of like 200 applications, whittle them down to ones that I might be interested in. And it wasn't a bad smartphone because it had that the same thing that like the phones now do, where you can use the.
Holy shit! Holy shit! It ain't good. Every 2 seconds, buddy. Uh-oh, Josh. I don't know what's happening.
I don't either. This is fucking bullshit.
Hold on. I'm gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna restart the link or reset the link for this. And just rejoin like right off that. Right. That's the only thing I can do on my end. So I'll just give you a second. I'll see you in a second. All right. All right, he'll be back in like 2 seconds. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why he keeps cutting out like that. That's pretty weird, but we'll figure it out. We do have some stories for you at some point. We will get to them. At some point, we will get around to that shit. So don't worry about it too much. We got your back. But what was I talking about before? Starfield. So if you guys haven't started playing it yet, I'm a fan. I'm gonna give it a bit of a mixed review. I think the reason being is because it's like a lot of the bare bones for the Bethesda game is in there, and they finally fixed the problem with like there's actually NPCs in an area, so it doesn't feel like there's only 5 people that live in a town, which is nice. Stream not found. Try this more. So I think overall, the game it's pretty solid. Like the storytelling is there for a lot of these quests. Overall, the world building is done pretty decently. I think you kind of run into a problem where you're kind of doing the same shit over and over again with, especially with some of the stuff that gets done on the planets. But I think there's enough variability in the storyline where you can get a solid 1 to, depending on your playstyle, solid 100 to 200 hours out of the game before you start getting bored of it in its current state. And maybe less, maybe like if you go through things pretty quickly, you just play storylines or whatever. We're talking probably 50 to 70 hours on that end. But I think overall the idea is good, the concept is good. I'm a little surprised. I feel like there was definitely a missed opportunity with something like a co-op or a multiplayer. Obviously, that's not the focus of these Bethesda games, and people have complained. I mean, that's been one of the bigger complaint points in the community for a very long time. But that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles on that kind of thing. So definitely missed opportunity there. Overall, I would say I would give it maybe like a 7.5 out of 10. We definitely you're getting some quality content out of it. It could have been a lot better. Hence is the story of Bethesda. But I think we'll see how the game continues to develop and how what kind of DLC you get out of it going forward. The perfect timing. I just finished talking about the game. So
well, bam.
All right. You just got flashbanged.
So, all right, I restarted. So we're gonna see because this my rig is too good to be doing this shit. It's only been happening recently, and I don't restart my computer. So hopefully that's the fix. But
maybe you should consider turning it off at the end of the day.
Fuck that. This shit goes balls. It's ready anytime I want to cast.
Right. Okay, whatever you say.
So anyway, no, I mean, what were you talking about? Starfield?
Yeah, I was talking about Starfield. Have you seen that shit?
Yeah, I thought about it, but I don't know.
You're not a role playing game kind of guy, like that kind of RPG, I should say. You're not that kind of guy. I thought.
I'm not.
I guess you played Skyrim, so. But you only played Skyrim on the Switch, didn't you?
No, I played it on 3 systems.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm a fan of the game in general. It just really depends. I'd say depending on your personality is like what you're gonna get out of it. It's definitely not it's still not fully developed. Obviously, there's gonna be DLC and all that kind of shit. But I think the bare bones are pretty solid. It's got a good framework and structure.
I mean, I played Mass Effect and fucking Skyrim and all this shit, but I don't know. I thought about giving it a go. I don't know. I don't know. There's just with work and Thundercat, it's hard to carve out time. Like I'm lucky because that's why the Switch is so convenient because I can just she can watch a show and I'll just bust out a couple games and fucking road to the show.
Right. The Switch, yeah, you'd have to stop watching TV for 6 hours a day, and that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. How the fuck am I gonna fucking keep up my reputation of watching every show on the planet?
Yeah, knowing ridiculously obscure television series.
Dude, I've been watching one, and it's something. It's pretty good, but so Thundercat she started watching it, and it's funny because I watch so much TV. Like within the first 2 episodes, I can tell you if it's gonna heat up or not.
Right.
And like it's not a bad show. It's just I can tell the writers on it aren't like S tier quality.
Right.
Because some of the dialogue is some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like the concept is really good. It's something Pickett. It's a new show on Paramount, I think, but it's not Paramount. It's like a small subsidy of Paramount that makes it, and basically it's about this game warden that ends up getting caught up in like a murder case, but he's using the premise of like there was an illegal weapon used, and it's kind of personal to him, and it develops in a small town in Wyoming. It's pretty good, but then just when I'm like getting into it, they drop like one of the dumbest fucking lines I've ever heard. So I got in on the second episode. I never watched the first episode. Thundercat got mad after we watched a few episodes. She's like, "You should go back and watch the first episode because you probably don't get it." I was like, "No, I get it. Like they've explained it 3 times. I've seen the first episode without watching it." Right. But then like at the end of the second episode, I was getting into it. I was like, "All right, I like this. It's a 6 out of 10, but it's not a bad watch." Right. And then the sheriff, like the shady sheriff, he's talking to him, and he's like, this and that, and he's trying to be that gruff old country type, but at the end he's like, just out of nowhere, the tone of the conversation is kind of low key, and then out of nowhere he's like, it's like a somber type thing, like he's being direct but he's not angry, and then at the very end he just turns around, walks towards his door, and then turns his head and just goes, "God damn it, I hate when things go cowboy," and then fucking slams the door. And I was like, what the fuck was that?
What?
I was like, and I just looked at the other cat. I was like, what was that? And she's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, that's like one of the worst dialogue lines I've ever heard in my life. Like, it did not keep up with the pace of the conversation. It came out of nowhere. Like, unless he has some mental issue that they're going to disclose in the next couple, like he has Tourette's syndrome, unless he's dealing with something like that.
He's got cowboy Tourette's.
Yeah. Unless he just does like fucking spaghetti Western lines out of nowhere. Like, this is going to be interesting. But
maybe that's part of the charm of the show.
Right.
He's just gonna yell out some stupid shit every fucking 2 episodes.
Yeah. And I had to explain to her, like, I'm watching it, I'm enjoying it, but I'm gonna pick it apart too. Like there's there's a couple of things that just don't make sense. Like one of the things with the main character is the only firearm he carries around is a .22 long rifle. And I'm like, look, he's
a game warden?
Yeah, he's a game warden, and all he carries is a .22 long rifle.
What?
And then
was this show written by like the people who the people who are running the range in one of our stories today?
Yeah,
like, he's only walking around with a .22 LR.
Well, it's just one of those where like it was given to him by his dad as a kid. There was an abusive relationship, but it stands as like a symbol between him and his brother that his dad ended up killing. Anyway, they know that they're going
so he carries around a fucking pea shooter.
Yeah, exactly.
In case anybody gets out of hand, he can just pop one at him.
Yeah, no, it's commented on several times because they're like, "Wait, why are you bringing the goddamn rabbit shooter? Like, what are you doing?" Yeah. But the thing is, like, he's got like a fucking like a 40 times scope on it too. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's not. You might want to just look down the barrel on that bad boy. But it's things like that I'm picking apart, and Thundercat's just like, stop it. And I'm like, what? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. I agree with the black dude.
It's like the subsonic rounds on your rifle. It's like you have to aim like 4 feet above the rock in order to hit it.
Yeah, it was like 200 yards, but you actually have to lob it at the rock.
Yeah. It's more like shooting a bow. Like you have to aim it. Like a 45.
In my defense, the FMJs on the blackout are much quicker. So like I just hadn't shot the subsonics yet, but it was still entertaining. But
right.
Anyway, the show there was just like he goes to get like another game warden as backup because they're gonna go like try and attack these guys on a mountain. And like the guys that were like they thought may be the murderers or whatever, and the guy's just standing there with his dick out like at the door, like he's fucking somebody's wife or something. He's at somebody
All right.
random's house. So then, but he's like, okay, one of the lines he delivered, like it was pretty standard stuff, you know, as a sexual deviant would. He's like, hey, why don't you take your pants off and come give her a ride? We don't care. And then, but then the last thing he says in the doorway is like, are you sure? Because sexually speaking, she's a freak. And I'm like, okay, first of all,
What? Is everybody in this town supposed to be like dumb as fuck?
Dude, I have no idea. But like, to be a game warden, you actually have to have like 6 years of schooling, like 2 years of forestry, at least two years of law enforcement, and then an actual associate's degree. Like, yeah, no, you can't be a fucking idiot. But like, it's just, that's kind of what I'm trying to explain to her, because I guess she watches so much true crime shit and fucking Law and Order with misplaced dialogue that just sits there like a duck.
Law and Order might be the worst fucking show on the planet. I'm sorry. Like, it's so bad with the dialogue.
The dialogue's so bad. Like, I'm like, look, I fucking introduced you to so many good shows where the dialogue is perfect. It's like a fucking...
It feels realistic.
It's like a Lamborghini Countach. Like, don't modify it at all. It's perfect. But, like, you've seen it, you've witnessed it, and you should have a point of reference, and because this shit is not like
right.
But with a show like, so you said Law and Order is terrible. Like, it's just
it's disgustingly bad. It's like, so fucking bad. There's no pace. There's no pace to the show at all, because the second somebody says something, the very next millisecond they're like responding, like not even thought about what they're saying, and it's like, how did you even get to that conclusion that quickly?
Right.
It doesn't even make sense in the moment.
Yeah, it's to the caliber of Gilmore Girls. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, just
Gilmore
because
Girls
you
is
say
great, first of all,
just because you say more words doesn't make the dialogue better. Like, it's just like all it is dialogue. Like, they just essentially stand in a room for 28 minutes and just fucking they do the livestock auction back and forth.
It's like the BBC presents.
Yeah, it's like no breaks. Like no human conversation has ever happened that way.
It's all dialogue and no substance whatsoever.
Right. It's like a Twilight movie.
Yeah. You might as well they might as well just read you a script. Like, just put the lights, just put the spotlight on the actors. Just do a table read. You'll basically get the fucking show.
Right.
There's nothing is needed in the background.
Yeah, but what I'm saying with this show that I'm describing is it's odd, because when you leave a duck on a pond every once in a while, okay, so we didn't catch it. It's probably an editing error. Like, they went with the wrong take and it just didn't match up. But when it happens once an episode, and the other dialogue, like I said, is like a 6 or 7 out of 10, and then you just drop a goddamn gooseberry, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like, who's not catching this?
Yeah, I hate shows like that, dude. They drive me up a fucking wall.
But the story is that good. Like, it's compelling. So it's I'm enjoying watching it. It's just like those little. I have to point it out, and like Thundercat's like, we can watch something else. Let's watch something else. I'm like, no, it's not bad.
It's not. You gotta understand. I'm an asshole, so I'm watching this from that perspective.
Right. You also have to understand. I'm a TV fucking aficionado.
Right.
So when it comes to that, like, I can pick it apart a little bit, but when it comes to shows like this, I mean, it's good, but it could be better. Like, you put it in the hands of an actual good production crew, but
right.
And there's other little things that I've picked up on. Like, I pride myself as being really good in catching inconsistencies. Like, when they're drinking a Gatorade and one camera angle, and then they're drinking. Yeah, it's like a blue Gatorade, and then it's an orange Gatorade when it snaps back to them. Like, so like I caught one of those too. Like, the guy hops off the horse. The sheriff's deputy hops off the horse when they get shot at, and it's fucking like he's got like the riot pump shotgun with the handle pump. Like, he's like cranking it out like that, and then. So the horses get spooked, and they enter into that portion of the dialogue, and it goes back, and he just got like a standard Remington 12 gauge with a handle pump. I'm like,
what? What's the point of even switching the prop out?
Yeah, but I was like, what? Did he find that next to a tree? Like, what just happened? It's just little things like that just irk the shit out of me. Like, somebody should see that. If I see it, somebody that's getting paid a lot more than I am should fucking pick up on it.
And that's the other. I wonder if that comes back to these editing issues we're seeing in print media too. Like, I wonder if it's that the same scope. Now, these kind of mistakes have always existed in film, but I just feel like I don't know. I feel like they're slowly becoming more and more prevalent. So I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm enjoying the show. I think they've already filmed a season 2, so obviously somebody likes it.
Somebody somewhere is on board.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? On that same kind of thing, like, have you seen any of these like mass popularity TV shows like Yellowstone or like Suits? Or anything like that?
I tried to watch Yellowstone. I couldn't get into it.
I feel like it's one of the and actually I feel like I'm pretty adverse to TV shows that everybody likes because of The Walking Dead. Because that was so popular for so long, and I tried to watch like any episode, and I was like, "There's literally nothing happening. Like, I can't. Like, this is just people are just in a forest talking, and then there's a zombie every once in a while. Like, there's literally nothing going on."
No.
And as the show went on and on, that's what people picked it apart for, was for being like the most boring fucking show on earth. So
yeah, it was. I mean, I really enjoyed the first 2 seasons. Right. After that, I hung on because I felt like I had to, but then they fucking killed Shiva, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, right. Thundercat, this is all yours. I'll hand it off to you. I'm not watching another goddamn episode because it had basically stopped to a crawl. Like it was almost like Dragon Ball Z, where like it's a really epic fight that you want to see, but literally 2 episodes are just the guys going, like fucking charging up. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, there's a boring story we can watch for 20 minutes.
Right.
But it was that type thing, and I was like, all right, you can. Like, there's a fucking tiger that kills people and is trained, so yeah, I'll stick around for that. But
yeah, it was just a big pacing problem.
Yeah, but you kill fucking Shiva, I'm out.
The other thing was, and that's why I didn't watch Game of Thrones for so long, because I was like, there's no way this is good, and then I was just completely blown away by how fucking amazing it was.
Yeah. I mean, shows like, so there are shows that are really popular, but you can kind of tell if they're good because they're not super popular at the beginning. Because so for instance, like Breaking Bad and Sons of Anarchy, they weren't instant hits. They were popular enough to get continued and get approved for more seasons, but they weren't like water cooler, gotta talk about it on Thursday. Like it wasn't that type shit.
Yeah. Same with The Expanse too. Like that, like nobody watched it when it was on Sci-Fi. And then Jeff Bezos was like, no, this shit's too good. Everybody has to see it. And then they put it on Amazon and had 5 really good seasons and 1 last mediocre season.
Yeah. But I mean, so I've seen so many like really fucking good TV shows that like something like Yellowstone, I'm not going to waste my time on because it's not that good. And so
it doesn't make the cut.
Another giant red flag for me is when you open up another show that runs parallel to it while the other show, like they're running concurrently.
Right.
Like,
CIS Miami.
Yeah, or like Walking Dead and like the Fear the Walking Dead and like shit like that. I'm like, no, they're just they're cash grabbing right now. They don't have shit, and they're trying to capitalize before people give up on it.
Right.
And but you know, just shows like Breaking Bad where it comes out season 1. I didn't watch season 1 live, but then you know, I kind of heard some rumbling, so I caught the reruns before season 2 came out, and I was like, this show's fucking bomb ass. And I watched it then, but like when it's popular from episode 1, like they actually promote the shit out of it. That usually means it's not that fucking great.
Right. Well, you know what's weird is just because I don't even know how we got into this, but we started watching Suits on Netflix, which I knew about in like I had saw the commercials for it on the USA Network when it originally came out, because like that's how long ago it came out. Like my parents still had cable TV that I would watch.
Right.
So I saw these commercials for it. I didn't know jack about it. I've started watching it now with the wife. We're on season 4 now. It's definitely found. It's like the #1 show on Netflix right now. I don't know if you knew that. It's like found this crazy like second life, and it was weird to me because when I heard originally that Meghan Markle, who married Prince Harry, right? When I heard that she was on the show originally, like 5 years ago, I thought that's when people were going to start going and looking into the show. But it's really weird how streaming, I guess maybe to that point, maybe it's been entirely organic, because they've fallen out of the news. Like everybody fucking hates them now, as they should have always been hated because they're a bunch of dumbasses.
Because fuck them, right?
And they're just grifters. Like they've big media dudes have come out and just called them grifters because that's what they are.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to me, like for some reason out of nowhere, Suits is popular, and it's definitely for me. I definitely rated a solid 5 out of 10. But it's just entertaining, and I guess maybe to this point, maybe it's a 6 out of 10 because it's just entertaining enough to keep watching. But there is definitely like some part in season 3, and I could not stop laughing at every once in a while, like the writing quality just takes a weird dip, and it's like all of a sudden I'm watching, like the Flash on CW, and I'm like, why is this situation even happening right now? These adults, you've written these intelligent adults, and they're acting like children just for the sake of having drama in an episode. But that was back when, they was on network television. Like, they had to have, like, fucking 20 episodes in a season. So you had to come up with some bullshit.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. So I see a show that I just finished that I watched way after the fact was Modern Family. Did you ever watch Modern Family?
No, but I've heard really good things about it.
So it's a network TV, which a network show. So I'm not huge on network shows. Most of them are just filler content. But this one... I would say
The Office is coming back. I don't know if you heard about that.
I don't give a shit. I can't watch The Office anymore, man. I tried. Like I used to be really big on The Office, and actually, like I watched it several times through because I fucking loved it. And then they took it off of Netflix, and then I think last year I actually ponied up and purchased the Peacock subscription.
Yeah.
And I tried to watch it, but I was watching the Superfan episodes. And I couldn't watch it for some reason. I even went to my favorite episodes. I couldn't watch it. And I think it's because it's the Superfan episodes. Like literally they're taking a 28-minute episode and it's uncut. So now instead of 28 minutes, it's like 47 minutes. And like, I was like, God almighty, this is painful. I can't fucking do it.
Right. Like, that's interesting that you recontextualize it like that. And all of a sudden, it's like it takes a little bit of the charm out.
It turned it off for me. Like I would prefer to watch the final product and then go search for the Easter eggs myself.
And here's the other thing is I'm not gonna be a first adopter to this new season coming out. I've watched The Office through like 3 times, maybe 2 or 3 times. I like the show. I'm not one of these crazy people who could tell you what Mindy Kaling was wearing in episode 2 or whatever, but to that point, I'm gonna just let other people go down that because that could be a total fucking disaster, especially considering the last 2 seasons nobody likes anyway.
I didn't mind the last 2 seasons, to be honest. I mean,
I didn't mind them either. I didn't think they were bad, but they weren't good. But they definitely weren't like everybody's like, oh, they're so bad. I'm like, they're not really that bad because Robert California kind of steals the show a little bit by being a fucking wacko.
I do like Robert California, but
yeah.
Like the biggest drop off was, I mean, everybody says Dwight carries those seasons, which he does, but the biggest drop off was Andy, like from season 3 to season 7 was so fucking entertaining, and then in the last 2 seasons he's just nothing, and he goes from being like the fun loving, aloof, like fucking just like douche. But then he changes into like real asshole douche.
Right.
Like it doesn't make sense.
They flopped his character because they just ran out of shit to write for him.
Now, the one scene that I fucking love is one of my favorite Andy scenes, and I think it's from season 9. But it's when Aaron starts dating Plop or whatever his name is. No, not Gabe. It's when she started dating the handsome guy, the guy everybody says looks like young Jim.
Oh, yeah, but I don't remember
Pete.
now.
I think it was Pete. No, Plop was Pete. Plop? It was the other one. Because it was like Jim Jr. and Dwight Jr. But she started dating him, and then basically he calls him out on it. And he's like, "Oh, this is inappropriate. We got to shut this down." And he's like. They're like, why? We don't have a problem with it. Why do you have a problem with it? And he's like, oh, okay. So then he invites their exes in and hires them and puts them in their departments. And he's like, not going so well. How does that taste? Like your own medicine? It's like, that's the most diabolical thing I've ever seen. It's fucking perfect.
Oh, God. That's too funny.
But
Yeah.
I can't go back. There's some shows like right now I'm going back through The League. The League is one of the funniest shows, dude. I don't know if you watched it, but
I've watched. I feel like I watched the first season or two, and I just don't know if it was just fatigue or like I just didn't find it that funny. Like, because I feel like I can't really get behind humor. Like, because it's the same type of humor all the fucking time. It's like Blue Mountain State humor, except I just feel like there's something about the delivery that I couldn't get behind. Because I fucking love Blue Mountain State. I watch Blue Mountain State again in a heartbeat, and it's like the same quality of humor and the same type of humor. But I don't know. There's just something about the League that I just could never get behind.
Well, I know. So it's probably the same reason you're not a giant Workaholics fan, and like I am. It's just one of those like 60% of the dialogue is like dick jokes and fart jokes, and it's real like I don't know, like nasty shit. But it's got some of my favorite actors in it, like fucking what's his name? God, what's his name? Joe Lejoie, the guy that plays Taco on the show.
Is he the guy with the black hair and the black beard?
No, that's Rafi, and I don't know his name, but that guy's fucking hilarious. He was great on Brooklyn Nine-Nine too.
Yes,
but they call him El Cañado, which literally in Spanish translates to brother-in-law because he's Ruxin's brother-in-law.
Gotcha.
But they're like, yeah, it just sounds sinister, El Cañado. And then, but no, his lines are fucking great though. Like he just sneaks into Ruxin's house.
Oh,
he's like,
yeah, Taco. What are you talking about now? I pulled him up.
Yeah, that's John Lejoie or something like that. But he was making videos before the show. That's how they found him. He was just making random funny ass goddamn like rap videos.
Okay.
But he does stand up too. He's really funny. Like for me, he's up there with like Chris D'Elia, like the same style. But and then the other guys, the guy that plays Ruxin's fucking hilarious too. But the two and Rafi, I can never remember the actor's name, but like his delivery. Okay, because I know he always plays Hispanic, but he's not Hispanic. At all.
He's got a Greek name,
right?
So I don't know.
Like Ruxin goes and opens the master bathroom, and Rafi's shitting in it. He's like, oh, why are you using the master bath? He's like, I'm family, bro. And he's like, well, I got to use the bathroom. He's like, come on in. He's like, just here, look, I'll open my legs, just pee through my legs. How's your aim? And then he's like, no, I got to go number 2. He's like, sit on my lap. We'll double deck this shit. And he's like, are you eating a sandwich? He's like, yeah, multitasking, bro.
Yeah, I think I remember that scene.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
He's like, I'm going to, like, so many fucking, like, his delivery is masterful. Like, he's just fucking, he's like, all right, I'm going to need to ask you a favor. It's going to sound weird. He's like, you want me to jerk off in front of you? Okay, it's going down. He's like, put your dick away now. He's like, dude, he's like, I've got a giant dick. You want to see it? But yeah, it definitely goes into like he's definitely just like the nasty character. But there is one episode specifically because Seth Rogen makes a few appearances on the show, and he fucking like his name is Dirty Randy, and he teams with Rafi, and they make pornos.
Oh, and yeah, that's right. I remember that.
And then there's one episode about like the origin story of Rafi and Dirty Randy. Like they meet in a mental health facility, and they both get oh god, what's it called? Where they it's the stupid antiquated thing where literally they would fucking like put a giant metal rod up your nose and, like yeah, they were both lobotomized, and then they escaped after they were lobotomized. That's why they're so fucking crazy.
They have no frontal lobe anymore.
Yeah, and then essentially they go and they make millions and millions of dollars making porno, and then there's like a Scarface style shootout and fucking like in a giant mansion. It's a wild fucking episode, but then it goes to present days. Like those were the days. Those were the days. They literally shoot each other 8 times and survive.
Oh my god. Well, that brings us to this part of the show, which we come across in every episode when we get to the end. If it would only play the audio. It's loading. There it is. The chop shop. So
The chop shop.
I think it's very clear that for this episode, the entire city of Philadelphia gets a chop because fuck them.
Oh, they get a fucking tomahawk chop, bro.
Yeah,
Like
right to
fuck
the
them.
throat, right to the fucking throat. Because
Bryce-
Philly.
Bryce Harper gets a dick chop. Fuck it.
Ooh.
Like that's a brand new chop, dicks and dickheads.
dick chop.
That's a 10. That's a 10
That's
out
when
of
you
10
really
chop.
fucked up. That's when you.
That's
really
a 10 out of
fucked
10 chop. Yeah, that's like a Medal of Honor level chop. Like
up. Medal of Honor level.
it's
chop.
like you usually we only give dick chops posthumously, but unfortunately unfortunately for America and baseball fans, Bryce Harper is still alive. But
Tell me how you really feel, Josh.
so then we're gonna throw another fucking chop out there for Rob Manfred because fuck him.
Yep, I like it. Fuck
We're
that.
we're
Fuck
just
that guy.
fucking we're tomahawk chopping and Castellanos, you
Hell
get a
yeah.
fucking chop and fucking I don't know who else gets a fucking chop in this scenario. Goddamn. I'm not going to chop Arcia, but I will give a stern warning if it happens again. You will be chopped for that type of behavior. We don't
Yeah,
need just
also,
because
you know
you're-
who else gets a chop is the reporter who leaked that bullshit, too.
Yeah, just because you're in Philly doesn't mean you have to act like a Philly.
Right, exactly. You can at least pretend like you have some class.
Yeah, pretend like you're from a fucking classy establishment, or we don't destroy the city when we win.
Oh, okay. So I think that wraps up the chop shop. I don't really have anything else. I think we had a great episode where we talked about absolutely nothing.